Hello and welcome as we continue our series of interviewing women in business and how they are making their dreams their primary source of income. How did they do it? Well, we're asking all the questions you want to know in today's episode with Amy Stevens. She's the owner, founder, and operator at Willow Lane Wellness. And she's specifically known for a type of yoga that's a little different than what you're used to practicing, holy yoga. Now, I myself am a believer, as you well know, in God, and so is Amy. However, here at Meet Me Where You Are, we strive to endorse an inclusive atmosphere where everyone is welcome. So stay tuned as Amy addresses this question and many more about how her dreams became a reality. I hope you enjoy. Do you have an event coming up where you need a sweet treat? Make sure you check out Voila Macaroons for your next event. She can do custom macaroons like she did for my party. My daughter Vada drew the heart on this, but she has airbrushing capabilities to customize designs just for you. Make sure and stop in this holiday season to Voila Macaroons to make your next event extra special. Have a great day. My Father's Feathers, a journey of transformation and healing, one feather at a time by Mackenzie Nelson. This is a story of healing, of hope, of excitement, of just things that you may have been through that you feel no one understands or can relate to. I hope you find healing in these pages and understand that you're not alone on your journey. I'm so excited. Today, I have Amy Stevens from Willow Lane Wellness, and I'm just so excited to talk to her more about how she got into the yoga and Pilates scene and what her life entails now as a woman who is now making her dreams a reality. Welcome, Amy.
Thank you so much. It feels really weird to hear you say that, but also like really cool too, because it is a dream come true.
Yes.
So,
you are an inspiration to me, and I'm sure many other women who are looking to establish themselves in a small business space and make their dreams into this vision that they see in their head into a reality. I think that's so powerful, and I think it's just so amazing to see play out in our own hometown.
yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about your background and why you have felt so called to teaching?
Sure. So teaching's in my DNA. My mom was a teacher. My aunts are teachers. My grandma was a teacher. So when I was a little kid, I literally would get all the kids together in the neighborhood. My dad had put up a chalkboard in our basement, and I would be the teacher. So I knew early on I was going to be a teacher. I know, and just that's what I thought I was going to be for my whole life. So went to school, became an educator. I spent 23 years in the classroom, and education is hard, right? Like before everything kind of fell apart a few years ago, education was really going through a lot of things, and I just felt like I was being called to do something else, but I didn't know what that was. You know,
Yes.
When you're a teacher, your identity is really wrapped into that. Ask any educator. That's why a lot of retired educators go back and sub or find places where they can volunteer to teach, because
It becomes our identity
it
after
becomes
so many
who
years.
you are, right? And trying to untether from that it's a whole thing.
It's a powerful detangling, I could imagine,
really
because you're so enmeshed with your purpose and with the students, and you want to follow their life path and their trajectory, but at the same time, you're not feeling called to that space anymore, but you know you still want to teach. So,
and I was just, what do I do? If I'm not teaching them, what am I doing? At the same time, I was going through a lot of things with my autoimmune diseases that I have. I have 3 different autoimmune diseases, and I felt terrible. I was always a really active person, working out, very active, eating healthy, and I just felt awful, like just awful. I was exhausted. And my doctor one day said to me, she's like, Amy, you need to stop working out. And I was like, what?
Right.
She's like, the only thing that I'm going to clear you to do is to walk or to do yoga. And I'd never done yoga in my life. So I was
because
like,
you were working out, right? Like
oh,
hardcore.
hardcore.
Like you were doing the, like I was at some point, like the CrossFit, you know, we're like jumping boxes.
Yeah, we're doing
like doing the push-ups. Like
we're doing those really hard, intense, you know, things, and
it really gets like your endorphins going. I feel like there's something addictive about working out and like a really like putting out everything you have, leaving it on the ground, and then to hear, you know, your doctor just be like, okay, like you just have to give all of that up, like all the things that you felt like were benefiting you. It's like, I can only imagine how you felt like your world was probably like crashing down.
Sent me into a little bit of a mental spiral, because dealing again with education, like it was one of my stress relievers.
Oh yeah.
You know, and to be able to not do that. And my doctor knew me. I mean, she said, and when I'm saying you can go for a walk, I'm not talking a power walk. Literally, you can go for a stroll. What?
You have to like redefine.
You have to figure out what that looks like. You know, you're go. But also what I realized is like I was dealing with, on top of the autoimmune stuff, like the reason I felt so crummy is I had adrenal fatigue. I mean, I was literally burned out.
Right. And that adrenal fatigue is right when all of your cortisol levels are just bottomed out.
And you got nothing left.
And nothing left. And how did you find out that you were in adrenal fatigue? They ran tests on you?
She did some testing on me. Okay. And just like, it didn't matter what I ate, didn't matter how much I worked out, didn't matter how much I slept. I just felt I had this puffy face, and I was exhausted all the time.
I'm so sorry you went through that, but at the same time,
it wouldn't have led me to where I am now if I hadn't gone through that. So I've actually recovered from adrenal fatigue, not once, twice.
Congratulations.
Twice, but you know, you have to be really mindful in what you're doing with your body in order to have healing. Like, we have a culture that is all about the fast pace.
Definitely.
And it is countercultural for us to slow down. But now that I've slowed down, there have been some days where I've gone back towards that Energizer bunny, if for lack of a better term, and I see it and I'm like, oop, pump the brakes, let's not do that again.
Right.
You know? And so
because you've practiced,
being intentional to have that
like,
rest.
I talk about all the time practicing being in the present moment, and the power of the present moment to redefine your life is incredible. And I believe you're such a great example of someone who found that power in the present moment and has used it to find healing on the other side.
Sure. So I actually, when I started yoga, I started actually with Christian yoga, and people are probably like, wait, what's that? And there's an organization called Holy Yoga, and they offer faith-based yoga. And for me, my faith is really integral to who I am. It has gotten me through those darkest days. And I knew that that was the only way that I personally wanted to practice. I really felt called to that as far as like practicing that type of yoga, and then also going through the instructor training program. If you would have said to me 6 years ago, hey, Amy, you're going to be a Christian yoga teacher, a small business owner, and you're going to do Pilates and do all these things and leave education, I would have laughed in your face. This was not on my radar.
Right.
But once I got on that mat, that was the healing that I needed. It healed me in my body in a lot of ways, and I discovered through that movement that it does not matter what limitations you have, what size, what shape, how fit, how unfit, how healthy, how unhealthy you are, you can move. We are designed to move and to heal, and movement is literally life. Like, we are called to move.
I love how you said like everyone can move. And
everyone. I
think a lot of times when we're in the fitness realm, people get caught up in like, I'm not as in fit as so-and-so, or the comparison game, right? When it's like, I take reformer, which I love. Pilates is like my jam. I'm not so much into yoga, but I'm willing, right, to like get into this space. But I love the ability that Pilates has to kind of like everyone can move at their own pace. You know, it's something for everyone, literally. And I believe Willow Lane Yoga, I'm so excited for this new venture, this new expansion, right? That you have going. So if you want to tell us a little bit more about how you're expanding some of the classes you're going to offer.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been looking for a space, golly, for probably 18 months longer. Actually longer. I've been looking since February of 2022 for a permanent location. I actually started my business in my home. I had a home studio, and then I left my teaching job 2 years ago because I just felt called, like it was time to pour into Willow Lane Yoga and Wellness full time. And I didn't know what that looked like. So my first year away, really, it was more like 8 months. I spent that time just slowing down, pausing, just kind of untethering from who am I away from education, and really spending that time, giving myself that grace and that space to figure out what that looked like. And then in about 8 months in, I was like, okay, I need to go somewhere else. Like I was limited in the amount of space that I had. You know, anybody who's ever had a business in their home knows that you have your family that lives there. And so when you tell them that they have to be quiet and put the dogs away or whatever, it's a whole thing. And it was great. And I had a very faithful following. I had 3 classes a week in my home studio, and people kept asking for more, and I couldn't keep doing more in that space. And so started looking. I started subleasing in end of May, early of June 2022, after looking for some months, and then I've been in that space for the last year and a half. But through that time, I started to fall in love with Pilates, because Pilates for me continued to move my body, but it also allowed me to build strength that complemented my yoga practice.
I love that.
And they just dovetail together so beautifully. And I, just like yoga, there's all types of yoga, right? There's vinyasa, there's a slow flow, there's a restorative aspect to it. You can do yoga with weights. It's the same with Pilates. You can do a classical or a contemporary class. You've talked about reformer and how you love that. I love the reformer. There's the Cadillac. There's just so many different things. And I was like, man, these two are like perfect.
Peanut butter and jelly.
They are.
Peanut butter and jelly.
Or peanut butter and chocolate.
Oh, even better. I love some peanut butter and chocolate.
Just started working on my certifications through that. And just over the course of this year in 2023, I looked at so many spaces and landed on a space that I'm super excited about.
Awesome. Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much. That has been a whole thing. But we'll be moving this next weekend.
Next weekend?
Yes, Thanksgiving weekend. We are moving.
Oh, wow. So you have a lot to be grateful for
I do.
For this Thanksgiving.
It's pretty excited.
So. I love when you get to see something fall into place and how your roots started in your home. You know, like I feel like my home is such like a special place. It's kind of like its own sanctuary for your family. And we're hosting the podcast currently at my home. So I really understand what it's like logistically to try to get all the pieces come together at the right times. And I admire you so much for like sticking that time out and staying passionate, even when you have these different obstacles that, you know, can come into play. Can you tell me a little bit about some of the current obstacles maybe you are facing during the Willow Lane expansion?
You know, it's sometimes I've discovered through this process that when you're waiting for something, you know, we take a stance that when we're waiting, it's about us. Yeah. And what I've learned is that in this waiting, it hasn't been about me at all. It's about things that needed to happen with other people.
Love that.
Other situations that I had no control over and that I just needed to surrender and let go of. And when you can take a posture of surrender and step back and know that the waiting isn't about you, there's such a peace there. I'm not saying that it's easy, because it's not.
Right.
But there's a peace there that, you know, like something is happening in the background.
Yes.
That is being worked on, and trusting that God's just taking care of the details. You know, if you would have asked me a year ago, like, hey, are you ready to move into your own space with instructors? A year ago, I was the only instructor.
Wow.
I was the only one. So in February of earlier this year, I had 2 people that went through their holy yoga training, their Christian yoga teacher training, and they came on staff in June. So in June, just a few short months ago, what is that, 5-6 months ago, we had 6 people. And continuing to work with trying to get all the details, looking for a place. And the biggest obstacle was just, who is that team going to be? I knew that they were there.
Right.
And just with some other things that have happened in other places, now I have a team of 9 people.
Wow.
Which is super exciting.
That is exciting.
And the experience that everybody on my team brings to Willow Lane Yoga and Wellness is just incredible.
Yeah.
We have a dynamic group. They have dynamic experience, dynamic backgrounds in training. And there's a group of us who are working on continuing our education and going for the big comprehensive piece and really adding to everything. So we've got a staff that
is going to knock it out of the
they
park.
are going to knock it out of the park for sure.
Personally know like 3 or 4 different instructors that are headed to partner with you at Willow Lane, and they have always made me feel so welcome and embraced me right where I'm at in my fitness journey. And I feel like at Willow Lane Yoga, you have holy yoga, but I feel like with the hearts of yourself and all of the lovely instructors that you are employing, this is a place for everyone, right? Of all faiths are welcome at Willow Lane.
Yeah, let's debunk that myth right now, because I feel like some people are like, well, you only do holy yoga, you only do this faith-based yoga. You know, when I added the wellness name, I actually added wellness on about 2 years ago. And I wasn't really sure what that looked like, but I knew that it was more than just yoga. It wasn't just this faith-based yoga. You know, here's the thing about Peoria. Peoria does yoga well. So if faith-based yoga isn't your jam, that's okay. Like there's room for everybody, but I will also say that that's just a part of Willow Lane. It's not the whole package. Yes, we started there, but as a business grows, as things grow, that changes, and that's where Pilates has entered in. So, you know, we have like 35 classes on our schedule, Mackenzie.
Wow.
Only 7 of those are faith-based classes.
So out of 35 classes, only 7 are focused on the faith-based aspect. So if that's not your jam, if God isn't what you're looking for at Willow Lane, there is so much more to explore, like these amazing fusion ladders that I can't wait to climb. Like I need more height, but you know I'll always do it anyway.
Okay, first of all, on the fuse ladder, it's the only way I'm ever going to do a pull-up, because I can be successful and I don't have to hang there. I've got the ladders are amazing. So fuse ladder is something we're really excited about bringing to the space. We are the only studio in downstate Illinois who offers it. There are only 4 studios in all of Illinois that offer fuse ladder. Wow. 2 in Chicago, 1 in Crystal Lake, and number 4, Peoria, Illinois.
Well, I am really happy with those statistics.
The ladder,
That's awesome.
you can do all the things. I mean, you can do bar. It's like a stand-up version of reformer and then some. You can even incorporate some yoga postures in with it. It's just a totally different movement. You can do something a little bit more intense and fast pace, or you can be slow and precise and really have that control.
I love that.
Just like you would in a reformer or a mat Pilates class.
Right. And Willow Lane is for beginners too. I just want to put that out there.
Everybody.
You don't have to be an established yogi you can come in fresh with no Pilates, no yoga experience, and that all of the staff is trained to help you learn, all of the basics, and they are very much about safety, right?
Yes, that's one of our core values. One of our things is really safety first. And when you had said, with the other instructors that and feeling like so welcomed, and
definitely
that's the thing. We want you to come in and we want you to feel like you're at home, right? Yes. Like you want to spend time there, not just for your own physical, mental, spiritual, emotional health, but also that connection through our community.
Definitely.
We have a really great community. You'll find people getting together. There's a group of people who are doing the hot chocolate run Thursday morning.
I love that.
Some Willow warriors out there. And it really is for everybody. We have people from all walks of life, all fitness levels come into our classes. And one of the things we say at Willow Lane is you do you. And it's not this you do you and you just show up and whatever. It's like really listen to your body.
Right.
We're going to meet you where you're at in your body, and then we're going to go from there, and then stop comparing. Like I'll be honest, there are some days, I can hit a really great intense yoga pose, and then there's some days that my body's
I am not going to get into that position
No,
today.
that's
Just
not happening.
that is not going to happen.
Right.
But in all things, what I love is how much you mention you are looking to meet people where they are.
Yeah,
and
for
I
sure.
think, my heart is the same way. And I think you are someone who embodies a similar sentiment about your faith as I do. I have my own personal belief systems, but I strive with everything in me to like meet people where they are, as we all do. We've all been on our own journeys. We've all decided and gotten to a place where we are right now that we feel aligns with who we are and our purpose. And we're all designed so differently that I do not believe like you have a heart of judgment toward anyone, as I don't either. It's more just about how can we help you, where you're at? How can we help you in your fitness journey? And how can we help you with like formulating into this community? How can we provide you with a basis, a foundation for who you are?
Not just that, but everybody wants to belong.
Yes.
Everybody wants to feel connected. It's about relationships. Like that's really important, for people to understand. When you walk through the doors at Willow Lane, you're not just walking into some yoga or Pilates studio. We don't ever want you to just come in, do your thing, and walk out. You're going to see in the new space, we have a dedicated coffee bar tea area where we want you to stay. And whether it's having conversations with us, having conversations with other people that you meet on the mat or on the reformer or in class. And sometimes it's through those things where you feel connected and where you feel that you're building community and where you belong and have relationships. You're going to notice on our schedule, we're not back to back to back to back. We're not trying to cram you in and kick you out. That's not what we're doing. You notice we have space between our classes so we can have that, foster that community and give you that space to linger, if you will.
I love that. I love that. Come and, fuel your heart, your soul,
absolutely.
And as well as provide your body with a foundation. I know personally taking Pilates for me has worked wonders. I threw my back out doing CrossFit, and I was like the adrenaline workout junkie from my days in basketball. So, I had some things going on, if you've read my book as well, where I've had to overcome a lot of those and have a similar transition that you have had into, I always looked at like Pilates and yoga kind of like, oh, it's not that hard, like, oh, it looks like you don't even break a sweat. But oh my goodness, it is such a workout.
I don't know, Mackenzie, a couple weeks ago when we were working on the reformer, were you sweating?
I was sweating.
And were you going really fast?
No. And that's the thing. You have to come in, at least try once Willow Lane. Just try it. So can you give us some info about do you have an official opening date?
So we're going to do soft opening in November, beginning of through December, and then we'll do like a big grand opening in January. But just, you can follow us on socials. We're on Instagram and Facebook. We also have a website, which is willowlaneyoga.com. And that just has a header right now that, please understand the website is in transition.
Awesome.
We're just off Pioneer Parkway, back in Parkway Plaza. And I like to tell people that it's kind of a one-stop shop, not just for your movement and your wellness, but we're right next door to Dr. Nelson Chiropractic. We're in the same complex as Kebab G, Los Cabos, Cantina Mexican and Grill, and Fox Pub. So you can eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner and come work out a couple times a day and find community. And one other thing is we have coffee on flow. So,
well, here to that.
Yeah, for sure.
If I could have an IV flowing through me, with coffee,
it's all about coffee.
I would find a way to do that. So I know I myself will be grabbing some friends and heading over to Willow Lane to support your new place. And I'm very well looking forward to the new memories that we will make together and just improving my body as a whole,
Can't wait to get you on those ladders.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to see how tall I'll be on the ladders. Thank you so much,
you're welcome.
Amy, for
Thanks
joining
for having me.
us
I appreciate
today.
it.
I feel like was so enlightening. I learned some new things. I hope you did as well. So grab your friends, head on over to Willow Lane,
check us
get
out.
some coffee, check them out. There is something truly for everyone at Willow Lane.
Absolutely.
Have a great day, and I'll catch you next time. If you'd like to meet me where you are and be a guest on my podcast, please go to my website, MackenzieKNelson.com. There's a form on there that is very user-friendly. Just submit your info, and we'll look forward to being in touch very soon. Are you looking for a little something extra special to spice up your holidays? Stop into Voila Macaroons on University here in Peoria and see Deanna to get some special flavors for the holiday season. My favorite personally is the double chocolate macaroon.